In case you haven't heard, Bungie is going to start bringing back old seasonal armor. They're calling it seasonal flashbacks, and apparently the first one will be this season. These flashbacks won't be limited to armor though, and other things like sparrows and ghosts will also return. The flashbacks will hit the Eververse store during weeks 4, 5, and 6 of each season. And for some reason, the first one will have items from Season of the Worthy. I have no idea why they started with that one. The Valkyrian set is kind of lame in my opinion, but I'm getting ahead of myself. They specifically stated that we can influence what goes in the store by adding them on Twitter. So in today's video, we're going to be ranking all of these seasonal ornaments in tiers, so those who may have skipped out on some of the seasons can get a good idea of what they may want back. As I'm going through these, feel free to disagree with me in the comments. Let me know how you would rank these yourself and which set is your favorite one, because I know my opinions can skew the results and I want this to be a conversation. So for this list, we're going to go in order by seasons. We're going to start off with Undying and we're going to end over at Witch. And I'm going to judge all of these sets together and not individually, because if we did them individually, that would just take way too long and that would be like a 40 to 30 minute video. Season of the Undying was a Vex themed season, and it brought to us the Phenotype set, one of the most legendary armor sets we've ever gotten. People always ask for this thing to come back, especially whenever I show off my Titan with the giant like winged chest plate. So this set will land itself in the A tier just because it is really great, but it does have its faults. Like for example, some of the helmets are just too small and awkward. The legs on the hunter are too big and bulky and can be kind of hard to work with, and the little white LED lights cannot shade. Season of Dawn brought us one of the most iconic sets in the entire Destiny franchise in the form of the Virtuous set. If you were to ask a group of Destiny players to name 3 sets they'd like to see come back, I guarantee you this will always be one of these sets on their list. The only real downside to this armor are that some of the parts don't really shade and stay purple, but I would still throw this up in the S tier. So we already talked about the Valkyrian set a little bit, but I don't know why Bungie picked this one to be the first flashback. Sure, the Russian hunter hat is pretty cool and the warlock robes are pretty sweet, but the rest, I don't know, man. The Titan helmet looks like Pepe the Frog. The shoulders look like turtle shells. I don't know a single Guardian that really uses this set seriously. I'm throwing this in D tier personally. Season of the Arrivals brought us the Siege Break armor, and if you like chunky armor, then this season was for you. The sets were all just mobile tanks, and it gave me some strong Kojima vibes. Now they're not perfect and they can be hard to work with, but in the right hands you can make something good. I think it's hit or miss for some people, so I think B tier fits the set well. Season of the Hunt brought us the Steeplechase armor, which incorporates design elements from our enemies. This armor had a great concept, but it was just so busy and random. I only see people use the Titan chest, sometimes the legs, while on the Hunter, they really only use the cloak. Here's the thing though, this would go into D tier if it wasn't for the Warlock. The Warlock armor is unique, fun to work with, and I love the hive skull on the hip and the jaw strapped to the leg armor. One of my favorite Warlock sets, honestly. That set alone saves this from D tier, and instead I'll go ahead and throw it over to C tier. Season of the Chosen brought with it the Legatus set, and this set is interesting. On one hand, it is used to make some meme builds featuring the likes of the Patrick Star Titan, the Banana Titan, the Corn Titan, and even something like the Ronald McDonald Hunter. Hell, the Hunter cloak is used to look like women's hair on some occasions, but at the same time, you can still make some solid sets with the Titan chestplate and arms, the Warlock robes and helmet, and the Hunter cloak. Overall, it's just a fun set, and I think I'm gonna throw it up in B tier. There's not too much to say about the interlace set that came alongside Season of the Splicer. The set is all over the place, it's really hard to work with, and an overall bad design. The Warlock looks like a tech goblin, the Titan looks like a fat shank with legs, and at least the Hunter looks fallen-like. The only good thing that came out of this set are maybe the Hunter cloak and the Warlock gloves, but that's kind of stretching it. D tier for sure. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have the Meridian Constellation set from Season of the Lost. I'm not going to sit here and convince you of anything. These sets are amazing, beautiful, easy to shade, and work well with any armor set, and they have fur, which a lot of Destiny players love. I personally use the chest and the legs on the Titans super often, but all parts of this set are super useful in some way. Whenever these come back as a flashback, I can personally recommend that you snag them from the Eververse store. Genuinely fantastic armor and an easy S tier set, no contest. Season of the Risen brought with it a really good seasonal armor set in the form of the Tusked Alliance set, but the ornaments were odd. These were called the Psionic Stalker set, and they weren't bad per se, but I don't see too many people using the set. With the exception of the Hunter Cloak, I think that one specifically is a must-have, but as for the rest of the set, it's kind of forgettable. You could make the argument for the Warlock robes and Titan legs and mark, but again, I don't see them used often enough. This set goes into D tier. If all of my armor was deleted tomorrow and I could only buy one of the seasonal sets to get me started again, I think it would be the Epialo set. There is no bad armor piece in any of the three sets, and the only real downside is that the skull faces only really change colors with certain shaders. I bet you 1,000 silver that if you loaded into the tower right now, you'd find someone wearing at least one piece of this set. When this goes on sale as a flashback, it'll be one of the most bang for the buck sets that you can buy, and I think I would easily throw this up in S tier. Season of the Plunder brought us the Starfarer set, which were pirate themed. The reception to these sets were very mixed at the time. I saw some people saying they were super excited about the armor, and others saying that it was the ugliest armor they've ever seen. So all I have to go by is how often I see these sets used. And unfortunately, it's not very often. I don't think this armor is bad. It's just hard to work with and hard to mix and match with other sets. Because of that, I'd feel comfortable placing this in C tier. Season of the Seraph surprised us with some really clean ornaments. This is the Hardened Basilisk set and one of my personal favorite armor sets in the game right now. It's sinister with smooth armor plating that ends with sharp edges. The set is easy to work with, and I see a lot of Guardians use bits and pieces of it often, with the ones used the most often being both the helm and the gloves on both the Warlock and the Hunter, and basically the entire Titan set, with the exception of the mark because it does this weird glitching out thing. I'm comfortable with putting this set in A tier. Season of Defiance surprised us with some really cool looking armor in the form of the Techian's Regalia set. Bungie really knocked it out of the park with this one. The set is really fun to work with and easy to make look good. The only downside I can see are that the blue jewels on the set don't shade and the helmets are kind of weird. The Warlock one actually reminds me of the Prophets from Halo. Do you guys get that vibe too? I can confidently say that I can throw this up in A tier. Now it would make S tier, but like I said, the helmets are awkward and the Hunter also has some awkward pieces. They're not bad, just weird. Season of the Deep is still fresh in our minds, and this brought us these really sweet underwater sets. I love the effects on these, and I think Bungie went above and beyond with this armor. As of now, I still see a lot of Guardians wearing pieces of this set. That could be because the season just ended, but I don't think that's the case here. Not all of these pieces are top tier, but where those pieces lack, the rest of the set carries. I also appreciate Bungie going out of their comfort zone with these, and I appreciate the fresh design elements, and I would easily put this up in A tier. And now we're all caught up. Season of the Witch is here, and the ornaments for the season are pretty cool in my opinion, but it'll be unfair to judge these within the first week when no one really has them yet and you guys haven't gotten much time to experiment with it yet. So I'm going to pass off the question over to you. What tier would you put the Hex Rod set in? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and liking the video on your way out. A quick shout out to all of my Patreon members. I appreciate your support. If you guys want to watch another video, consider watching my video on the new Trials armor. That set is freaking cool. Or click on any of the videos popping up in your end card now. And as always, Stay beautiful.